afternoon. My name is Paula Meireles. I'm an independent lawyer working in the Algarve, based in the Algarve. I'm from Lisbon. Actually, I moved to the Algarve 14 years ago and was the best decision I've made in my life. And today I'm here to go with you through the process, doing a resume on how conveyance is carried out in Portugal. Actually in Portugal, because our legislation is the same for all the country, differently than in Spain that are regions. The legislation is applicable on the same way for all Portugal and islands. Oops. Okay, how does this process start? This process starts with somebody like Abigail. You come, you visit. With the real estate agents, you see lots of properties before you find the property. And one of the first things that after you find the property you have to do is to make your offer. And once you have made your offer and your offer has been accepted, nowadays real estate agents will ask you for a reservation agreement. What is a reservation agreement? It's just to reserve, as a table in a restaurant, they reserve. They really don't take out of the market, but is there not been shown to anybody else for a certain period of days, in between 7 and 21. Why 7 and 21? Would be enough time for you to come back to the UK, to really decide if that is what you want, and in the other hand, if you're looking for a mortgage, it's enough time for you to speak with your broker and find out if that would be feasible for you. This reservation agreement, as I state there, is a gentle agreement, is not binding, and the fee that they request from you varies in between agent to agent. Normally, it's in between 5 to 10,000 euros. What I recommend you is to, yes, I'm available to do the reservation agreement, but I will be doing through my lawyer. In this case, your lawyer, if the deal does not go forward, will refund you 100% the fee. What do we do in between the reservation agreement and the promissory contract, which is equivalent to exchange in the UK? We will do our legal searches, and they are based in 3 main documents of the property. Habitation license that will grant us the certainty that the property was built according to all the regulations in place. Fiscal booklets and land registry certificates. In Portugal, the informatic system in this moment is so well developed that me sitting on my desk, I have access to this information up to date. But I still work old-fashioned way. In my office, we still receive the documents. Doesn't matter if they are up to date or if they have 2 or 3 or 5 years. Why? Because we really displace to the town hall to go through a project. Because sitting on my desk, I will have access to a habitation license, but I don't know if that habitation license corresponds to existing process at the town hall. So I want to be certain of that. Of course, I'm not going through the engineering side. I'm just going through the legalities and the architectural plans, so that when I come back to you, I never see properties, I only see documents. When I come back to you, I can describe what I have seen on the approved projects of the town hall. In Portugal, as in the UK, we are very demanding with our building regulations. After I go to the town hall, I go to the fiscal department. The description that I should find at the fiscal department must correspond to what I have seen on the projects of the town hall. At this stage, I will know if there is or there are any debts to the Portuguese authorities from the actual owner that they could be claimed against your property, if they are or if they are to come. After we have this information, we will go to the Land Registry Office. The same you have here in the UK. And at the Land Registry Office, I will get access to what I call the life record of the property. It's nothing more than the Land Registry certificates. Why I refer to them as the life record of the property? Because I want you to have the idea of which kind of information that I will receive. In one hand, I will have access to all information since it was a single plot of land, got permission to be divided into plots, built up to your final product. Can be a villa, can be an apartment, detached, semi-detached, I don't know. I don't want to know. I just want to know through the documentation. As I said on the beginning of our conversation, I do not see properties. And this is very fair for you because what I will inform you is the juridical reality, and you will have been having contact with the physical reality. And this is the way where we're going to interact. So after I had went to these 3 departments, I'm in position to come back to the clients and inform the results of my legal searches. One of 2 things will happen. Or you say, Paula, we thought better and we are not interested to move forward. And the process ends there for you. Or the best scenario, you say, we are very excited, we are really happy with the results, and we want to move forward. That's the moment when we're going to draw the promissory contract of purchase and sale. And from here is when we're going to really commit. Up to here, what we had was a gentleman's agreement, the reservation agreement. I was carrying out all the legal searches during that process. If for some reason you decide not to move forward after my legal searches, I don't charge you anything. It's not because I can't. Yes, I can, because I carried out work on your behalf. But that's not the way I want to be on the market. It's not everything about money. And if you pay me, you will forget about me. This time you saw one agent, next time you see another agent. They will recommend you another lawyer, and you go with them. If I don't charge you, certainly you will come back to me. And if you don't buy, you will recommend me to your friends. So what does the promissory contract content? Identifies the vendor, the purchasers, the property according to what I have seen, according to my searches, price, way of payment, installments, when we're going to complete, and applicable legislation. So this is the document that will rule as much in detail as possible the deal. And here, what do? We send to you in Portuguese and in English. I could just send an English draft to you for your knowledge and approval, or ask me to make some changes. But I send you both versions because I want you to have the freedom to send to an independent translator, look at one and the other and say, this could be the same. Or Google, this is the same. No, we have to send to an official translator because the only version that's going to be signed and the valid one is the Portuguese one. This is the reason I want you to know at each stage of the process with what you can count on. This is the reason why I send you both versions. On that contracts are also established, apart from the description of the property, are established the conditions of deliverance of the property. Imagine that the property description that I make to you does not include the swimming pool. You have to highlight me and say, Paula, on your description, we didn't read any swimming pool. The property has a swimming pool. One of 2 things happened. Or they built the house and then they submit an independent project for the swimming pool, or they just built without planning permission. So I have to go back to the town hall, find out if in that precise local it's possible to build a swimming pool, and we would protect you and do the alteration to the promissory contract in order to protect you and make sure that the swimming pool will be legalized at cost of the vendor. In Portugal, at the stage of the promissory contract, as Abigail referred before, it will be requested to you to do a down payment. This down payment is a deposit, an initial of payment, and goes from 10 to 30% of the purchase price. Who decides that? Unfortunately, it's not me, it's not the real estate agent, it's the owner. When they deliver the property to the market, they will inform the real estate agent how much they want to receive. Of course, according to our legal searches, if there is a mortgage on the property and the outstanding amount to be paid is 70%, I will never allow the client to pay a 30% deposit. Why? Because if in the meantime something comes up, I have no margin to protect my client. In that particular case, I would advise my client only to put a down payment of 10%. This is the moment when it's going to become binding. The moment you request your lawyer or you sign this contract, you have to do the payment. The signature of the contract is made against the payment. It will be done to the lawyer representing the vendor, but the lawyer representing the vendor has the obligation to deliver to the vendor himself. And this is the reason why, if they breach contract, they will be obliged to refund you in double, because they have the opportunity from that moment on to dispose on that amount the way they like. Normally, I always say this to people, and you never forget. They can be wise, they can save, they can invest, they can lose their mind and go to the casino. And from that moment on, you think, Paula, you said they would refund us in double. They spent our money in the casino. This doesn't make sense. How are they going to refund us in double? It's not them that's going to refund you in double. The property will be responsible. We will put a court order against the property, and it's the property that's going to respond to refund you for the double. This is a very safe process. I'm looking to you and I'm seeing your faces. And I don't know if this is going to give you any it will relax you. I'm doing conveyance in the Algarve for 14 years. Never had a client losing the deposit, never had a client refunded in double. Because the system is bureaucratic, but it's so safe that you're not going to instruct your lawyer to pay the deposit if you're not going to fulfill. They will not sign the contract unless they can deliver under those conditions. This is what the Portuguese legislation says, but we do more than that. In our contracts, we protect our clients against gazumping. Because if the system obliges you to refund in double, if somebody offers you a nice amount over what you offer, it could be okay for them to refund you the double and still have a profit. We protect our client, and you would be entitled for the full amount and not only the double. Title deed. Okay, in between the signing of the promissory contract and the title deed, what I'm going to say, the British people don't like to hear. No news is good news. Why? You hire a lawyer to be stress-free. Everything that was agreed is to be followed up by me and dealt with the agent. Make sure that the property is in good condition to be delivered to you on the legal side that fulfills all the requirements. The only moment I would contact a client in between these two moments is if something came out of my control and that I had to come back to you and offer you all the possibilities and follow your instructions, your decisions. What can happen? Imagine that somebody dies in between the process. we could never complete because it will be needed to do a probate process in between. So I will need to contact you and find a solution. Do you really want to take over the property before that? So yes, it's possible. Let's do a reinforcement of deposit. As soon as the probate is finished, we do an amendment to the contract and the property will be delivered to you. And a certain amount will be retained until probate is completed. So it's just to give you an example. The moment you do, there is always the other way around. You can always contact a lawyer. We will be there to answer you any questions you have during that process. When will I contact you in between this moment? It's maximum 2 weeks before completion. Why? I don't want your money before. It will only stress you. You will think, we send the money over to the lawyers, nothing is happening, and you start to get anxious. So we request 2 weeks before. Why? Because the day we request you the money, you do nothing. The next day you instruct your bank to send the funds over. It will take 3 working days before it reaches our client's account. The day it reaches, you receive an email from us. We receive the money. You kind of relax. Then the next day, we have to inform the Bank of Portugal for which purpose we have received that amount of money to fulfill with the money laundering rules. That day we don't count with the money because we don't know at what time it will be released. Can be in the morning, can be in the afternoon, so I really don't worry. I'm left with 3 working days to work on your behalf with a safety margin, organize the payment of taxes, and to request the final payment, because the day of completion you're going to be there and you don't want anything to go wrong. So I think that's enough time for you to send the money over and to see things rolling. On the title deeds, normally our office invites all the clients to be present. We can do as in this country by power of attorney, but I put myself on your shoes and I think if I would be buying in the UK, would I like to be present? Yes, if it's possible, yes, it's a big thing. I'm sending over a lifetime money savings to somebody that maybe I met twice, 3 times, I spoke a few times on the phone. It's a big thing, it's scary. So if you are there, we will be handling to you a banker's draft, certified banker's draft with the remaining balance of the payment of the property. So you will have it on your hands for a few minutes. You will handle to the vendor for him to give you the keys. But at least you know it's real. You are there. You sign for the deeds. So you are part of the process. For you, the process ends there, not for the lawyers. Why? Because after that, we need to do registration. What is registration? Is to go to the land registry office and to give them public knowledge that you are the new owners in place. With that, I'm very demanding. If possible, I invite the people to do the deeds in the morning so that in the afternoon, somebody from the office can go and do registration. The land register has 10 days to complete the process. However, in Portugal, as I said, the informatic system is so well developed that the moment you deliver the document at the desk, informatically it's registered. Then it's just the bureaucracy for the signing of the land register. How much does this process cost? Okay, there are involving taxes. So purchase tax is a sliding scale that goes from 1 to 8% of the purchase price. But the Portuguese government also created allowances. Allowances to incentivize people to purchase in Portugal. In between the figures of 1 and 8%, there will be some allowances. Stamp duty is a fixed figure of 0.8%. Unfortunately, is what it is. No discount. Notary fees and completion fees. Why I said notary fees or completion fees? You saw before on the board that the deeds in Portugal can be carried out by a notary, by a land register, or by an independent lawyer. So that's the reason I made / completion fees. Normally, as I said, like to work the old-fashioned way. If you're going to pay the land register for the register and for the deeds, you are losing one checking point. So I always like you to have the lawyer, the notary or the independent lawyer, and the land register, so that you can triple check everything. Land registry fees, expenses. What are your expenses? Your fiscal number, your water, electricity, gas, contracts. And legal fees. Legal fees. I'm not the cheapest. I'm not the most expensive. This service in Portugal is charged in between 1% and 3%. But I charge 1.5%. But whatever I agree with the clients, what you're going to get in the end. It's not a surprise, plus translations, plus displacements, and in the end you're going to have a different bill. So whatever I agree with the people is what you're going to get in the end. No surprises. Electricity, water, gas, internet, insurance, and any others. They are carried out by our office. It's included on our legal fee, so you don't need to worry. On the day of completion, you just need to receive that key and go and celebrate. The buyer also will celebrate with the check on his pocket. Everybody will be happy. So we will do everything that's stated there. However, our relation with our clients does not end there. Our clients, if they are residents, they will receive their bills in their homes. If they are non-residents, the bills can come to our office. We will keep an eye on them and we will file them for you with no extra charges. You read something in the newspaper, you wonder, is this correct? Is this not correct? Let's go to Paula, let's have a meeting with her. I do not extra charge for clarification. And this is where I am based. Okay? Thank you very much for your time and for listening to me.
Thank you very much.